Big update out of Chicago. There's news on Braxton Jones and what it could mean for the Bears' plans in the 2025 NFL Draft. Before we get into it, if you're rooting for the Bears to shore up the left tackle spot, whether that means sticking with Jones or bringing in someone new, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. Let's keep the conversation going. Now, onto the situation. Braxton Jones is working his way back from ankle surgery, and while his recovery is trending in the right direction, it's taking longer than expected. As it stands, he might not be ready until after training camp. That puts the Bears in a tricky spot, especially with the number 10 pick on the board. They're clearly keeping their options open. Recent meetings with a couple of top left tackle prospects show they're doing their homework ahead of the draft. To put this into context, about 3 weeks ago, draft analyst Matt Miller shared that he didn't think the Bears were leaning toward drafting an offensive lineman that high. At the time, the belief was they were still confident in Jones and felt good about their current group. But that was then, and a lot can change in a few weeks. Miller had said he'd spoken to the front office and believed Jones was still in the plans for 2025, assuming he came back healthy. But now, with questions surrounding his availability, things look a little different. The Bears may need to pivot. That number 10 pick could now be used to strengthen other parts of the roster, or even be part of a trade-down move to gather more picks. There are 4 clear areas where Chicago needs help: tight end, especially in a Ben Johnson-style offense, running back, defensive tackle, and yes, left tackle. And speaking of the running back situation, Miller also recently mentioned that the Bears have shown a lot of interest in Boise State's Ashton Gentry. He could be an option at 10 if he's still on the board, but that's far from guaranteed. Some believe the Raiders have their eyes on him too. Still, Chicago is feeling confident about its revamped offensive line. They've made serious upgrades: Pro Bowlers at guard, center, and right tackle. The one question mark? Jones. And while he's exceeded expectations since being taken late in the draft, the Bears can't afford uncertainty at such a critical position. Right now, your starting offensive line looks like this: Braxton Jones at left tackle, Joe Thuney at left guard, Drew Dahlman at center, Jonah Jackson at right guard, and Darnell Wright at right tackle. That's a solid group with a lot of upside, if Jones can return to form. But with his status still unclear, it wouldn't be a surprise if the Bears look to strengthen that left side during the draft. Right now, there's not much real competition at left tackle behind Braxton Jones. Outside of Theo Benedict, it's a pretty thin group. And when you look at the rest of the offensive line, packed with talent, Jones stands out as the weak link. That's a concern, especially when your top priority is keeping Caleb Williams upright and giving him the time he needs to thrive in this offense. Jones played in 12 games last season before the injury, and his performance was a bit of a mixed bag. He earned a solid 77.4 grade from PFF, ranking 20th among tackles, but the breakdown tells a fuller story. He gave up 5 sacks and 2 quarterback hits across those 12 games, allowing 26 total pressures. That's not disastrous, but it's not the kind of security blanket you want protecting your rookie quarterback's blind side. Think about this. In past seasons, we've called out guys like Matt Pryor for surrendering 7 sacks over a full 16-game schedule. So for Jones to give up 5 in just 12 games raises a flag. At the very least, he should have to battle for that starting role. Nothing should be handed to him. Now let's talk about some new info. ESPN's Courtney Cronin recently reported that while the Bears have reworked the interior of the line through trades and free agency, that doesn't mean they're done. She said we shouldn't rule out the possibility of the team using their number 10 pick on a left tackle. According to her, Jones is likely going to be limited at the beginning of camp while he continues recovering from his ankle surgery. And there's no indication that Kieran Amagaji will have a clear path to start either. So that left tackle spot? still very much up for grabs. Cronin added something interesting. Taking a left tackle at 10 could reflect how the front office is thinking about both the immediate and long-term outlook. They might not need a rookie to start right away, but creating competition and building depth is part of how great teams are built. When players have to fight for their spot, it brings out the best in them. It also gives coaches real decisions to make, not just default starters. And really, that's been part of the Bears' issue in recent years. Too many players coasting in without serious challengers. That's changing. And it should. Every job needs to be earned. Now, speaking of building competition, the Bears recently hosted Will Campbell from LSU at Halas Hall as part of their pre-draft visits. He's one of the top tackles in this class and someone they're clearly high on. If he's still on the board when Chicago picks at 10, he's a name to watch closely. Campbell started 12 games last season at LSU, coming in at 6'6" and 319 pounds, a massive presence on the edge. Some folks will nitpick things like arm length, but his game speaks for itself. He posted a 72.2 overall grade from PFF, with a 69.7 in run blocking and an impressive 80.6 in pass protection. He's got that edge you look for at the position: tough, consistent, and physical. One thing you can't overlook about Will Campbell: he's been a starter at LSU since his freshman year. That means he's been lining up against some of the best pass rushers college football has to offer, especially in the SEC. And even against that kind of talent, he only allowed 2 sacks, 5 quarterback hits, and 11 pressures last season. That's impressive consistency on the edge. At the Combine, he did have a bit of a slip during one of the drills, but the rest of his numbers showed exactly why teams are excited about him. He posted a 32-inch vertical, a 9'5" broad jump, and clocked a 4.98 in the 40-yard dash, all while weighing in at 319 pounds. His arm length measured 32 5/8 inches at the Combine and bumped up to 33 inches at his pro day. His hands, massive, over 9 inches. In short, the physical tools are there. But beyond the metrics, it's the game tape that really sells you. He's physical, consistent, and plays with the kind of edge that teams want anchoring their offensive line. Like one coach put it, tape over measurements, not measurements over tape. That line rings true here. This kid can flat out play. Now let's talk about another name on the Bears' radar, Josh Conerly from Oregon. The team recently brought him in for a visit as part of their top 30 meetings. While he's projected more in the late first to early second range, there's real potential here. Conerly made a big leap this past season with the Ducks. He's a 6'5", 311-pound tackle with 33.5-inch arms, so he actually measures a bit longer than Campbell in that department. He also has big hands, measuring over 10 inches across, and ranked 5th among offensive linemen in athleticism with an 81 out of 100 composite score. Last season, he played nearly 930 snaps and gave up just 1 sack, 2 hits, and 6 hurries. That kind of performance, especially in the Big Ten, speaks to both his discipline and upside. He finished the year with a solid overall grade of 78.3, and here's the kicker: he's only 21 years old. With that kind of size, athleticism, and room to grow, there's a lot to like. If the Bears decide to hold off on drafting a tackle at 10, Conerly could be an excellent pick later on, possibly at 39, or even as a trade-up target. It would give them flexibility to address other needs like tight end or running back earlier, while still adding real competition at left tackle. For now, Campbell might be the safer, more polished choice. But Conerly, he's got all the tools and could develop into a long-term starter with the right coaching. Either way, the Bears seem committed to keeping the pressure on Jones, or that's how good teams are built.